Unmuted.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for the special edition of the Blending Blueprint, Making Effective Blends for Aging Gracefully. We will go ahead and get started. My name's Anna Doxey. I am a registered aromatherapist and an organic cosmetic formulator. I'm also the founder and director of the Institute of Holistic Phytoaromatherapy. We have a special guest today, as you know, and I'm so excited to partner with the amazing Rachel Pontillo this evening. Thanks for joining us, Rachel.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Rachel has been in the health and beauty industry for over 22 years and counting. She's a metaphysician and a PhD student. She's also a licensed esthetician and herbalist. She's the best-selling author of Love Your Skin, Love Yourself, and the co-author of The Sauce Code. Rachel is also founder of Holistically Haute and founder and director of Create Your Skincare, a 6-week online course that teaches you to create and customize all-natural boutique skincare products from the comfort of your own home with the benefit of live instruction. We both like to teach the same way, I see. Rachel is also president and co-founder of Nutritional Aesthetics Alliance, and which is a professional organization dedicated to the advancement of integrative approach to healthy skin. So glad to have you, Rachel. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And by the end of this class, you will be able to learn some basic yet effective steps to creating a blend. You'll be able to evaluate basic odor characteristics. And you'll know how to create a balanced blend. You'll also feel more comfortable with choosing essential oils for aging gracefully. And we're going to talk about different types of aging and what causes them. And we're going to talk about essential oils and what they can and can't do as far as, supporting us during that aging process. So we want you to be able to choose essential oils that are appropriate for the process. And we're going to do that by talking about some common skin conditions that we've all experienced from one time or another. But of course, we will always touch on safety and appropriate dilution. If you are not muted, please mute yourself and be aware of your background noise. If you have a question, please raise your orange hand. Colleen, the moderator, will put your hand down and she'll take your question. And when we ask for questions, Colleen will let us know what your question is. So go ahead and raise your hand, and she'll let you know she got that by putting your hand down. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're talking tonight about what a professional knows about blending effectively with essential oils for any condition, but in particular tonight, aging skin, as we all have that concern because none of us can get out of aging. And so professionals have a very large range of different techniques that they use, and these techniques are used together to create effective blends. And so what we're going to do is shed some light on what some of those techniques are so you can take some things home with you tonight and share them and put them together right away and use them and hopefully make your blending a little bit easier, more enjoyable, and more effective. So what are some of these techniques? So when you go to create a blend, you want to be sure that your blend is very focused. Maybe consider a primary and a secondary. Beyond that, you'd want to consider making another blend. You don't want one blend to encompass too many different concerns. And the reason for that is because you want to make sure that the active constituents stay high in order to accomplish this primary and secondary purpose of the blend. So another thing that we do as professionals is we make sure that the essential oil chemistry is complementary to the therapeutic activity that we want to accomplish with the blend. So when you're new to blending, it's a good idea to start with using just 2 to 4 oils. And we also know that choosing a carrier oil is just as important as choosing the essential oils, because carrier oils also have their own therapeutic properties, and so they really are an important part of creating a synergistic blend. And we will get into some carrier oils a little bit that will also help support the process of aging gracefully. Proper dilution is important, and that is something that we know how to use, and we know how to decide on what is a proper dilution. And we also know that essential oils, their aromatic molecules, they have a psychological effect on our psyche. The aroma has a psychological effect on our psyche. So we know how to blend to match the appropriate therapeutic action, but we also know how to blend so that the aromas are pleasant to the person that we're blending for. And that's very important, because no matter how effective an essential oil blend may be, if the aroma is not pleasing, the person simply won't use it. So it's important to have the chemistry, the therapeutics, and the aromatics all in line so that your client or the person that you're blending for is compliant with the application. So again, safety, contraindications, we'll touch on a few of those as well for you to be aware of when you are creating a blend. So this is basically the thought pattern that we have when we as a professional are creating a blend. We start with usually a symptom or concern, right? Because when you're experiencing something, that's the first thing that gets you to think, I wonder if there's an essential oil that could help me with this problem. Well, of course, we want to address the symptom and concern, and we also want to address the organ that needs to be supported, not just look at the symptoms. But as the second step shows, we want to consider the individual. So we need to consider their likes and dislikes as far as aroma. We need to consider their age, if they have any allergies, if they're taking any medications. These are things that will personalize the blend. So between the symptom and supporting the organ that is having the issue, and taking into consideration what we know about the individual, that is what creates our purpose for the blend, giving our blend direction. So we will then take different essential oil characteristics into account, which we will go over some of those. We're going to go over some notes and some aromatic characteristics. We look at chemistry, because chemistry decides everything. It decides the safety, it decides the dilution, it decides everything. So we consider the chemistry because the chemistry also has influence on the therapeutics. There's also something called energetics, which we're actually not going to get in on this particular class, but it's something that you may want to look at the original version of the blending blueprint where we do get into energetics. So once we've compiled this group of information, then we decide on the application. how are we going to apply it? Will it be topical? Will it be internal? Will it be, you know, by means of absorption through the skin or respiratory, maybe through a diffuser? There's so many different modes of application. So once you've decided how you are going to make your blend and what's in it, you decide how you are going to apply it on your body or where you're going to apply it. So that's just a simple thought process that you go through when you are wanting to create a blend for yourself. So now let's go ahead and get into some of these basic characteristics to give your blending just a little bit of organization and just a basic approach to take. So there are top, middle, and base notes in essential oils. And you want to include all three notes in a blend because doing that helps create a balanced blend, and it also helps give the blend longevity. So top notes we'll get into. These are essential oils that are made up of very volatile constituents. They are very diffusive. For example, if you put a drop on your hand, within a few seconds you can probably smell it on the other side of the room. It's very diffusive, and they rise to the top of the blend the quickest, and they penetrate into the air very quickly. And they're usually aromas like we have mentioned here, a lot of the citruses, and they're just very light, sharp, crisp, and fresh. And another way to determine a top note is by the viscosity, the thickness. Top notes are very thin and they flow very quickly. So when you're pouring a top note, if you want 3 drops, if you're not careful, you're most likely going to get 6 drops because it's thin, light, and it flows very quickly. So I would sit down with your oils and figure out what are all of the top notes that you have in your collection. Then we have our middle notes, and those are known as the heart, or they're like the glue or a bridge because they hold the top note and the bottom note together. So they create harmony in the blend, and they're usually oils that are distilled from grasses, twigs, berries, and needles. And there's some examples there for you to see. Now, as far as identifying middle notes by viscosity, they're medium in weight, and they have a medium flow. So if you want 3 drops, you're most likely going to get 3 drops because it's very easy to control a middle note. You then have your base notes, and that's very important to have a base note in your blend because they act as a fixative, or they anchor the aroma, and they give the blend longevity so that you can smell the aroma longer. And the longer you can smell the aroma, the longer you are getting the positive effects of the aromatic molecules that you're inhaling. And so the base notes diffuse last. They're the heaviest, and they're very calming. They're very grounding and centering, and they usually come from the part plant of like a wood, a resin, a root. And as far as the viscosity, they're very thick. So when you want 3 drops, you kind of wonder if 1 drop will ever make it out of the bottle because it's so thick and it's just taking so long. That is most likely a base note. So you want to combine all 3 notes to have a balanced blend. One thing that you do want to be aware of is scent hijackers. There are some middle to base notes that are extremely high aromatically. And so using just 1 or 2 drops of that blend is more than enough. In a single blend. For example, ylang-ylang or patchouli, those are oils that you either love or hate. So if you need to use ylang-ylang or patchouli or one of these scent hijackers, you usually want to use them as the smallest percentage in your blend because they will have a tendency to take over the entire aroma of a blend. So just be aware that there are some scent hijackers. Are there any questions so far on top, middle, and base notes, Colleen?
No, there's none at this time.
Okay, so we're going to go on to odor types. And the reason we want to consider odor types is because, let's face it, essential oils are an investment. And the last thing you want to do is throw a blend down the drain because it smells horrible, because it wasn't blended properly. And that's part of the learning process. Everybody will probably have to do it at least once. But these will help you to blend notes and know in advance what will and will not smell good together aromatically. For example, we have our floral notes. And, you know, as women, we like floral notes, and they are usually the most expensive. So you don't want to waste a floral note. Floral notes blend well with woods and fruity, sweet, and also musty notes. But you don't want to blend something floral with something camphoraceous. Something camphoraceous is something that smells medicinal or pungent. And so you don't want to take your beautiful florals and blend them with something camphoraceous. And we're going to get into what some of those camphoraceous oils are. Now, the fruity notes are usually the notes most people start off with because they're very inexpensive and it's the most familiar aroma to us. And so people are, in general, will start off with the citruses. And so they do not blend very well with woods, and they also blend poorly with camphoraceous notes. You have your green notes, which is like violet, basil, pine, spruces, and firs. They blend well with just about any essential oil if they're used in small amounts. Now, of course, this is all subjective. So what you want to do is sit down with your oils and classify them aromatically by their characteristics. So what's fruity, what's floral, what's green? You want to classify them and see how you feel about them being blended together, or how a potential person that you may be blending with might feel about a blend together. We also have herbaceous notes. Valerian is very herbaceous, and that can take over any blend. It can take over an entire house. It's extremely powerful. Mastic is very pungent and herbaceous. And then you have German and Roman chamomile, which are very herbaceous but more on the mild side. So they blend well with camphoraceous. They also blend well with woods. So these camphoraceous notes that we keep talking about, again, it's something with a medicinal smell, something like peppermint or rosemary or laurel leaf. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to smell laurel leaf. So spicy notes, those you want to use in small amounts. Those would be something like cinnamon, black pepper, or ginger. Some people who have a sensitive skin may have a source of irritation to any of these spicy notes. And so you always want to take into account if someone you're blending for has sensitive skin before you use something that might be spicy. You have the woods, which blend well with just about anything, and they really, again, they're base notes, so they give the blend, you know, depth and longevity. And then, of course, you have the earthy notes, another characteristic that you generally either love or hate, but at some point as your aromatic nose grows, you learn to appreciate them, and the more you learn about what they're able to accomplish, the more you actually like them. It's like a friend. The more you get to know them, the more you like them. And so that's how earthy notes are. Vetiver can smell, you know, just like dirt to some people. And so some people don't like it. I didn't like vetiver for several years, and next thing you know, I was obsessed with it and wanted to put it in every blend. So Your taste will change over the years. And know, too, that some things that you may not like alone, don't hesitate to use them in a blend because they complement each other and they smell a lot better in a blend. For example, valerian. I know a very well-known perfumer who actually blends with valerian, but she knows how to create the blend balanced so that the aromas complement each other and create a beautiful synergy. So it's all about learning to blend appropriately in a balanced manner with different characteristics that smell well together aromatically. We'll talk a little bit about dilution and safety. Oops, excuse me. So essential oils are extremely concentrated, and as this illustration brings out, it's 1 drop of essential oil is equal to about 40 cups of herbal tea. Who's going to drink 40 cups of herbal tea in one day? Could you imagine what could happen if you did drink 40 cups of herbal tea? It will probably be overly detoxifying. And essential oils are 75 to 100 times more concentrated than an herb. And look how hard these harvesters have to work to create just 1 drop of essential oil. 30 hand-picked blossoms or 2,000 petals to produce 1 drop of rose essential oil. Since it's expensive and it's a valuable resource and it's hard to come by, we want to make sure that we are using them properly and that we're diluting them properly to get the best effect. So in regards to dilution, because we're here to talk about skincare and we want to be able to apply these blends in a safe and effective manner, when you're blending for your skin, because your skin is thinner than other areas of your body, you want to blend at a 1 to 2% max for facial care. And there's really no reason to go above that. Now for your lips and mouth, you may want to consider using CO2s, which is another form of extraction. And it's used in the food and flavor industry. And the reason they use that is because it has an amazing flavor. It's actually the closest means of extraction. It extracts closest to the plant material. And so it tastes more like the plant than an essential oil, and it smells more like a plant. It smells more like the actual plant than an essential oil. And it's actually very concentrated, so it's a little more expensive, but it goes a lot longer way. And I always use CO2 when I'm formulating for my lips or around my lips and my mouth area because it's going to get in your mouth, and if it's going to get in your mouth, you want it to taste good. So don't be hesitant to try CO2s when you're doing lip balms and so forth. Rachel, did you want to go over the eyes and the neck?
Absolutely. The eye area is an area when we are designing products that I have a lot of questions from my students, and I know that I have some students on the call tonight. So when we tell people to avoid using essential oils in eye creams or gels or in any product that is going to definitely get in the eye area, meaning inside of the that orbital bone area, they get a little bit worried because, you know, a lot of things accidentally get into the eye area, but also a lot of the essential oils have properties that would benefit symptoms that people experience in the eye area, like fine lines and wrinkles, puffiness, stagnation from poor circulation. So people want to use essential oils in eye creams, but because we really have to respect how strong essential oils are, and I know you and I are both very conservative when it comes to the eye area and essential oils, we recommend avoiding them altogether. So what I recommend, and I know Anna agrees, is that you use plain carrier oil blends or if you're creating an emulsion, just make it without essential oils. You can use hydrosols in a water-based gel or in an emulsion, and you will get some of the aromatic properties that you would be looking for if you want an eye cream or an eye gel that smells nice. But I would definitely recommend avoiding essential oils in something that you are going to deliberately apply to the eye area, whether that is a cleansing oil that you intend to use as an eye cream, or I'm sorry, eye makeup remover, an eye cream, an eye gel, or even a night cream or a night oil serum that could potentially wick into the eyes while you sleep. That can happen. And what I recommend also for puffiness instead is to look for hydrosols that contain natural astringent properties. Rose and cucumber are two of my favorites. What this does is help to reduce any inflammation, any dilated blood vessels that are there. It will help to naturally encourage them to gently close up without artificially shocking them into closing up. It'll work with your body naturally. You can even use infusions of rose tea. You can also look for certain hydrosols that support healthy circulation. If you're someone who has dark circles, that is an indication that there might be some stagnation happening. So bromeliad, chamomile, geranium, and helichrysum hydrosols are really nice to support healthy circulation in the eye area. So you can either add those hydrosols to your products as ingredients in place of water, or if you are not formulating, you can simply just use them as a compress using like a linen cloth or a cotton cloth and just apply to the eye area and rest for 15 to 20 minutes and let them work their magic. Now for the neck is an interesting part of the body because it is nowhere near the eye area, but it does have some issues with sensitivity similar to how the eye area would have. And a lot of people who exhibit symptoms of sensitization or irritation or even skin allergies to an ingredient or some other substance that their body just does not agree with, they might exhibit a rash on the neck area as well as around the eyes. So even though I don't recommend, you don't have to leave essential oils out completely for the neck area. The issue with the eyes is that you don't want the essential oils getting into the eyes themselves. But for the neck, obviously that's far enough away from the eye area that you don't have that concern of wicking. But just keep in mind that the skin there is a little bit on the thinner side. It might be more reactive for some people. So I might recommend using a lower concentration. It is safe to use that 1% to 2% dilution as you would for the face. But if you're someone who is sensitive, or if you're formulating for somebody with sensitive skin or somebody who has a lot of redness or heat or inflammation, you might consider using that 1% or even less than that in the neck area. So that's just something that I always recommend. And neck creams are very popular for women who are experiencing symptoms of aging because the neck is one of the first places to show signs of aging. So it is certainly possible that you might have a client or you yourself might desire a product that's specifically for the neck. So these are some great considerations to have in mind when you are choosing your ingredients and blending them together.
Wonderful. So we wanted to go ahead and give you a chart with an example of proper dilution. And it's really quite simple. And we'll go down the blue aisle. And basically, when you have an ounce, that being an ounce of carrier oil, which is like grapeseed, fractionated coconut, jojoba, whatever you will be putting in the essential oils into, that is your carrier, and that is covered over the top. And then, of course, going down, we have the essential oils. So if you're blending for your face and you want a 2% dilution and you're making it in 1 ounce, that will be 10 to 12 drops because it's 5 to 6 drops per ounce for 1%. So if you want to blend at a maximum of 2% for your face, then you're going to do 10 to 12 drops. So that's the area you would be looking for your skincare. If you have very sensitive skin, or if you're blending for an area like your neck, you may want to lower it to 1% and just go 5 to 6 drops. I mean, really, with essential oils, less is really more because they are so concentrated and so powerful. So let's talk a little bit about phototoxicity. Before I do that, Colleen, are there any questions?
Yes, Anna, I have two. The first one.
Are they for Rachel, or let us know who they're for?
Okay, the first question is from Ronnie, and I believe this will be for you, Anna. I am very sensitive to flowers and many trees. I haven't bought any floral EO because of this. Am I likely to have a problem with florals in my diffuser?
So you really have to take it on a case-per-case basis, Ronnie. What I would do is take the essential oil and patch test yourself. You can put a drop of essential oil into a very small amount of carrier and put it on your forearm and wait 24 hours and see if you have a type of a reaction. So patch testing, if you're concerned that you may react to a certain type of an essential oil and you're not sure, doing the patch test and waiting 24 hours is a good way to find out. And in general, a good way to avoid any type of reaction is to make sure you're using a low dilution. Reactions usually come when things are not diluted or when they are not diluted at a high enough dilution. And so it's not generally the essential oil themselves, but generally the dilution or how it was applied. So try the patch tests for the oils that you're concerned with and see how that goes. So I hope that works out for you. And what is the next question, Colleen?
Next question from Jean, and for you, Anna. I notice EOs are being included in most natural products these days. Isn't it possible to overdo a good thing with industry putting oils into many products?
You should always be balanced. But again, there's nothing to worry about if the company is using a low dilution. So in general, it's things like excessive use. You don't need to use essential oils on your body every day. Definitely, you don't need to. And if you feel like you need to use essential oils every day or in many parts of your life each day, it's better to just ask yourself, what are you doing that you have to use essential oils every day? Because it's not necessary to have essential oils in every body product. So it's just a matter of you, the consumer, deciding which products you are either going to make yourself or you are going to buy and bring into your home and use on your body. So that's something you as a consumer, making good choices and deciding for yourself which products you're going to put on and how often you're going to use them. But yeah, you don't have to use essential oils every day. It's not really necessary. Any other questions, Colleen?
Yes, we have one more. It looks like just came in from Barbie. This would be you, Anna. With with so many brands of essential oils, how would we know the dilution percent?
The dilution is determined by the chemistry, and it's determined by the application or what are you using it for. So I will tell you this in general. As a non-professional attempting to make a blend, there's really no reason for you to ever go over 3%. It's more than enough to get the job done. And so when you are blending for yourself, if it's for something on your body, stick between 1 and 3%. And this is for a healthy adult that we're talking about here, a grown, healthy adult. And so if it's on thinner parts of your body, you want it to be lower, 1 to 2. If it's on thicker parts of your body, then you can have it go up to 3%. So just know that as a non-professional and not being aware of the chemistry, you should try and stick to a range that never surpasses 3%. If you feel that you need something stronger, that's when it's time to think about having a professional consultation with someone that is qualified to blend above, 3%, because many blends have more than 3%, but you don't want to do that when you're not aware of the chemistry, because you don't want to hurt yourself or anyone else that you're giving the blend to. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into phototoxicity. And phototoxicity is caused by certain essential oils. Certain essential oils increase the absorption of UV rays into our body. And so it's like a magnet for the sun. And those are generally your cold-pressed citrus oils. So you know as well as I do that sun damage causes aging, and that's what we're all trying to avoid, the appearance of aging and aging gracefully. So when you are using essential oils that are cold-pressed citruses, as I mentioned, those are the oils that most people start off with, you want to be aware that they have a chemical constituent in it called a furocoumarin. And furocoumarins are the constituent that increases the absorption of the UV rays into our body. So they are in cold-pressed citruses. If you just want to avoid the concern of toxicity, you can purchase citruses that are steam distilled, because steam distilled citruses, the furocoumarins are too large to fit through the distillation process. So they're not there, therefore the concern of a phototoxic reaction is also not there. So skip the cold press altogether if you want and get steam distilled. If you're using a citrus and you know it has color, that's a cold press. That's a cold pressed oil. If it's near colorless, that's a steam distilled citrus. Sometimes they can get labeled wrong. Don't depend on the company to label things right. Mistakes happen every day. So just be aware of that. And so we pretty much talked about that, but be aware, bergamot, also angelica, those are essential oils that are phototoxic, and also St. John's wort. Now I'm not referring to the essential oil, I'm referring to the infused oil. When you put, say, olive oil into a mason jar and you infuse the chemical constituents into the olive oil, and then you use that as your carrier because it's wonderful for the skin. And so a lot of people use St. John's wort as a carrier, the infusion or the maceration, or they blend it with other infused oils like calendula and arnica. It goes by a name called the trauma blend. Different companies call it different things. And so just know that St. John's wort, the infusion or maceration, is also phototoxic. So you want to be careful. And so if you do use phototoxic oils, give yourself a 12-hour window before you, allow yourself to be exposed to UV rays. And, of course, protect yourself with the appropriate clothing or possibly a sunblock that you feel comfortable with using. So now we're going to get into aging, and Rachel is going to go from there.
Excellent. So yes, aging is something that obviously everybody experiences, as we all know. And I just want to clear up before we dive into this that it's really important to me, and I know it's important to Anna, that we communicate that there is nothing negative about aging. There is nothing unattractive about aging. Women are beautiful at every age, and every age brings its own gifts and blessings. So I just have to throw that out there before we dive in. Now, with all of that beauty, of course, that doesn't mean that we can't want our skin to still look a certain way, but just, keep in mind that if you are looking for a quote-unquote anti-aging product or anti-aging blend or anti-aging protocol, just, again, like Anna said before, be aware of why that's what you're looking for. And always be mindful of the fact that you are more than what you see in the mirror. So there's my little PSA, and now we can dive in. So the skin ages because of many different reasons. Genetics does play a factor. It is not a sentence. So if you don't like the way your mother's skin aged or your grandmother's skin aged, it doesn't necessarily mean that your skin is going to age the same way, because different things like lifestyle factors, stress, diet, if you've experienced weight loss or weight gain, that's certainly something that I went through, and I noticed a change in my skin after that happened. All of these different factors play with the genetic code that you've been given, and that combination is what determines how your skin is going to age. So if you don't like what your family history is in terms of aging patterns of the skin, all you need to do is look at the lifestyle habits of those people in your family and don't repeat those. So that's kind of how you can play with genetics. So genetics is an example of an intrinsic factor of aging. That's something that you can't necessarily control. It's something that comes with you, but you can work with intrinsic factors by balancing them out with lifestyle habits, healthy lifestyle habits, as we just mentioned. Extrinsic aging is really what causes the majority of skin aging, and these are things that we can control. So the biggest cause of extrinsic aging is sun exposure, or I should say overexposure. Like Anna just alluded to, it's very important to always protect your skin if you know you're going to be out in the sun for a long period of time. Again, if you are working with essential oils, be sure that you are not using phototoxic essential oils and then going right out into the sun. You want to be very, very mindful of that, and just use your oils responsibly when you are working with a day product or formulating a day product. And also if you're applying oils, I know there are a lot of essential oils that are used as insect repellents these days. You've just got to know exactly what's in those blends and what the source and distillation or extraction process was of those oils. So being mindful of your sun exposure, also things like air pollution, water pollution, chemicals in skincare products such as certain preservatives, sulfates, other types of surfactants, detergents, exfoliants. These are all different things that affect your skin on the external side. So extrinsic, external, that's how you can remember what kind of thing that is, an intrinsic, internal. So certain forms of extrinsic aging are visible typically with things like hyperpigmentation, with loss of elasticity, which we see in wrinkles that are considered static wrinkles. These are wrinkles or lines that occur on the face outside of where you would normally note expression. So lines around the eyes, mouth, and on the forehead, those we could typically associate with smiling or frowning or laughing. And those are normal expression lines. Those are dynamic lines that move with the face. But static lines that are typically associated with extrinsic factors are lines that are visible on the face even when the face is not moving, or they occur on part of the face that you typically don't get a lot of movement associated with facial expressions. So I see Anna has a great note here. We want to just talk again about sun protection. You may have read or seen somewhere online or heard that certain essential oils and carrier oils offer natural degrees of sun protection. We want to really communicate communicate that this is not a viable replacement for a sunscreen. If you're looking for a natural FDA-approved sunscreen product that's made of FDA-approved sunscreen ingredients like zinc oxide or titanium oxide, and they contain some of these natural oils like red raspberry seed oil or green tea extract, or some of these other oils, coconut oil, argan oil, that are known to have mild natural sun protective effects. It's great to have them in a product with the proper sunscreen ingredient, but they cannot be measured or tested consistently enough to be reliable as standalone protection from the sun. So let's talk more about extrinsic aging. So again, these are internal factors that consist of normal degenerative processes of our tissues, our skin, our cells within that tissue aging. And this type of aging is primarily influenced by heredity, by genetics. Cell turnover, which is that's the process of when your skin cells form in the deeper layers and slowly rise layer by layer up to the top of the epidermis. The very outside layer of the skin is the epidermis, and it has 5 layers of its own, and the outermost layer of that is called the stratum corneum. That is where you have the flattened down, quote-unquote, dead skin cells that you typically would exfoliate off. And these cells come off on their own, but the process of that natural exfoliation, that natural cell turnover, does begin to naturally slow down around age 30, sometimes earlier if you are someone with certain genetic factors or certain extrinsic or lifestyle factors. And then if you are someone with lucky genetics and you eat, fresh whole foods, drink a lot of water, stay out of the sun, you might be lucky and your cell turnover rate won't slow down until maybe 40. The amount of pigment in your skin also might have some effect on that as well, and also the thickness of the skin. So the big question, and I know that a lot of you who are here today want to know, can essential oils delay skin aging? How do essential oils relate to the aging of the skin? So a little bit of bad news first. Of course, skin aging cannot be prevented entirely altogether, and essential oils are not a panacea that is going to magically reverse any process. However, the good news is that using essential oils responsibly in skincare products, and I do want to repeat that, responsibly, everything Anna said about proper dilution and proper selection is important, because if you're using them irresponsibly or not diluted enough, that can actually speed up the aging process. So proper, responsible use of essential oils in a balanced skincare regimen can certainly help you age more gracefully, can help your skin look healthy and glowing at every age. So what is important to look for in an effective aromatic phyto-based aromatherapeutic skincare product line or skincare product formulation are oils and other ingredients that have enzyme inhibitors. Enzymes are substances that break down the proteins in the skin sometimes faster than they're meant to break down on their own. And the proteins in the skin, collagen and elastin, those are what I call the proteins of youth. That is what keeps our skin supple, flexible, thick, and elastic. So if we have these enzyme inhibitors, or these enzymes just, running amok in our skin and eating up those proteins, that's going to speed up the aging process. So certain oils do naturally have those enzyme inhibitors inherently. And also, of course, antioxidants, which are compounds that help to neutralize free radical damage, which happens from some of these extrinsic factors that we talked about, as well as certain intrinsic factors. There are free radicals that happen in the body just from regular metabolic processes. So they have been shown in studies to help slow certain aspects of aging by reducing inflammation, helping to neutralize those free radicals, and those are found both in your essential oils as well as in your carrier oils. So what does all of that mean to us, Anna?
Well, so just as you mentioned, we want essential oils that do two things, inhibit enzymes and provide antioxidants. So elastase is an enzyme, and as you mentioned, that particular enzyme is what increases it increases as we get older. And so because it increases as we get older, it causes fragmentation in our collagen and our elastin. And so we have less elasticity, and this is when wrinkles start to appear or stretch marks and so forth. So if we use essential oils that have elastase inhibitors, this is a tool that we can use to help support us aging gracefully. And some of those would be what's listed here below: lemon, juniper berry, grapefruit, black pepper, marjoram, and Roman chamomile. They have elastase inhibitors, and so we would want to choose blends or include those in our facial blends. You may even want to make a blend just for elastase inhibition. So then we want to choose essential oils that have high activity of antioxidants. So again, topical application of a phyto-based or aromatic antioxidants, they have been shown, they have been proven in various studies to potentiate the antioxidant network within the skin. And there's a lot of research being done on this area right now, which is great for us. And so these essential oils that are high in antioxidants would be yarrow and frankincense and ylang-ylang, lemon, and myrrh. So you may want to consider making an antioxidant blend or creating a blend high in antioxidant and enzyme inhibitors together. And so this is just a few of the oils. This is by no means the entire list, but we just want to give you a few to work with. And remember, as newer blenders, you're only going to start with 2 to 4 oils max because you want to keep the active constituents high that are going to inhibit the elastase or are high in providing antioxidants to the skin. Rachel, did you want to go over hyperpigmentation?
Absolutely. So hyperpigmentation is something that I am contacted about almost on a daily basis, whether it is hyperpigmentation following trauma to the skin. A lot of people who once had acne later get dark spots in the place where those acne lesions were, and that is considered post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, and that is something that can get darker and more noticeable as we age. And also just regular hyperpigmentation that comes from sun. You might call them sunspots, or you might notice that you had some freckles that are much more large and pronounced. Sometimes freckles might cluster together. And then also melasma, which is another form of hyperpigmentation, also known as the mask of pregnancy, which happens either during a pregnancy. Some women do get it who have never been pregnant, and there are some women who get it again in menopause. It's always fun how the skin plays these tricks on us when we're at our most hormonally sensitive, isn't it? But the reason for that is because hyperpigmentation is an inflammatory response. It is a message from your body, from your skin, saying, hey, I'm under attack by something. I'm either under attack by the sun. I was under attack when you picked at that pimple over and over again, even though you were told not to. And I'm under attack from all of this hormone stuff that's going on in my body. So this is my way of responding to that. Hyperpigmentation happens when the melanocytes, which are our pigment cells, they open up like an umbrella to protect the proteins that are in the deeper layers of the skin. And when the skin feels that it's constantly under attack, those umbrellas just stay open all the time. So we have to convince the skin that it's no longer under attack. And we can do that by promoting cellular regeneration and also by adding anti-inflammatory ingredients to our products. And also antioxidants do help to calm down those cells as well. So Anna, do you want to talk more about these oils that are high in these properties?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So like you mentioned, when the skin is under attack, it becomes inflamed. And so you want to choose anti-inflammatory essential oils, again, and essential oils that are cicatrisant or they produce cellular regeneration. You also want essential oils that are high in esters that are very calming to the skin and antispasmodic. And so you want to find a group called sesquiterpene ketones because they help with that cellular regeneration. And they help with hyperpigmented skin, keeping your fresh skin turned over on top so that it doesn't begin to thicken in layers and form irregular coloring. And so to help, calm the trauma or to help slow down the extrinsic aging factors, you want to use oils that are mentioned below: balsam copaiba, carrot seed, cistus rock, Roman and German chamomile, divana, helichrysum, sandalwood, and Buddha wood. Some of these you may have not heard of, but these are all excellent to combat each of the issues that we have talked about in this area. And so every woman who is concerned with aging in a graceful manner, who uses phyto-based skin therapy, would want to consider having these oils in your collection. So we're going to get into carrier oils, and I mentioned earlier that the carrier oil is just as an important partner in the blend as the essential oil. And Rachel, do you want to go over that?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people just consider carrier oil as a way to dilute it, meaning kind of watering it down, making it less effective, but that could not be further from the truth. Carrier oils themselves are oils that are typically cold pressed or expeller pressed from plants, and I do recommend that you look for organic oils that have been cold pressed and unrefined. The more refined or processed an oil is, the less therapeutic properties it has still intact. Every round of processing or refinement cooks out those benefits. So you want that oil as close to that original cold press as possible because they are just rich in nutrients that just feed the skin, and they also work with the natural lipids of the skin to truly nourish and protect it. So absorption I know is a huge concern for estheticians as well as people who are buying quote-unquote performance or professional skincare, because they're concerned that some of the active vitamins and antioxidants might not get into the deeper layers where they belong. And that's because the skin is made of a lipid matrix, and a lot of the products out there are water-based, and those lipids will keep the water out. However, when you're using products that are based with carrier oils, I actually call a lot of them performance oils, the ones that are really super rich with nutrition, and you're adding your essential oils to them, those oils are going to get right into the deeper layers of the skin where they are needed, where they can do good, because the skin is going to recognize these oils. Many of them are very chemically similar to human sebum. That's the oil that our oil glands produce. And it opens right up and just pulls them right in. So some of the oils that I particularly like for people who are looking to age gracefully: evening primrose oil, it's rich in essential fatty acids. You want to look for oils that are naturally high in antioxidants like beta-carotene, which is a vitamin A precursor that the skin can actually store and convert to retinol when it needs it, instead of applying a retinol to the surface of the skin directly, which can cause inflammation. Vitamin C also, you would like, it's better to apply in a natural oil rather than a topical vitamin C product, because a lot of the topical vitamin C's out there can also be photosensitive or phototoxic. So you want to be very careful with that. There have been some new studies out lately showing that certain products containing forms of vitamin A or vitamin C that are synthetic, that are not in the form of these natural oils, can actually be carcinogenic when you go out in the sun with them. So it even goes beyond phototoxicity. So sea buckthorn oil, rosehip seed oil, any of the carrier oils that are naturally pink or orange or that kind of rich gold will have those beta-carotenes and natural forms of vitamin C. And as Anna alluded to earlier when we were talking about the St. John's wort infused oil, you can infuse your carrier oils with herbs that are rich in antioxidants all themselves, which they won't be as concentrated with essential oils, but they certainly can add another layer of antioxidant benefits to the products. And also, I just want to point out, any herb or oil that is naturally high in vitamin C helps to promote collagen production. Collagen and vitamin C go hand in hand. Your skin cannot sustain healthy collagen production without adequate vitamin C, both in your diet as well as topically applied. So I really like adding things like rose petals and hibiscus to my carrier oils, either as a macerate or as an infused oil. And then, of course, other antioxidants are found in other like seed oils and berry oils that are highly beneficial to the skin, all on their own. And then we have some other
vitamin C now.
What are you doing?
I'm going to grab my vitamin C right now.
There you go. It's a good reminder. So vitamin E is another antioxidant that's wonderful to apply on the surface of the skin. You can see here that wheat germ oil is rich in vitamin E. And I want to just call out jojoba. Jojoba is a really important carrier oil. It's important for a lot of reasons. Number one, it is actually a wax. It's a natural liquid wax that is the most chemically similar to human sebum. So it is going to work with almost everyone's skin. There's very few people who don't do well with jojoba. And it's also highly shelf stable on its own. You don't have to worry about it going rancid or its constituents breaking down as you do with some of the other carriers. Some of the other carrier oils are very reactive and very sensitive and fragile, and you either have to add an antioxidant like vitamin E or rosemary antioxidant to them, or you have to blend them with a more shelf-stable oil like jojoba. So I always recommend that everyone has some jojoba in their collection. And then some other beautiful ones, as I mentioned before, sea buckthorn and rosehip seed, sunflower, sesame, extra virgin hazelnut, and then, of course, you want to look for your cold-pressed and unrefined oils. So as Anna mentioned at the beginning, I teach a course called Create Your Skincare. Our next round begins live on September 19th. And enrollment is not even open, but because we are doing this very special webinar today, I wanted to offer anyone who is attending here live today, or if you're not attending live and you're listening to the replay, I like people who take action, and I believe that the early bird catches the savings. So I will offer a discount. Our tuition is normally $997, but if anyone listening right now would like to enroll within the next 3 days, you can go to createyourskincare.com/early-bird-2016. You can get the entire course. It is full of videos, demonstrations, formulas. I have workbooks. We do live calls every week where you can get one-on-one instruction, group instruction, and we have also a private student forum. It's a fantastic course. You get lifetime access to all of the materials. You can retake it anytime you need to. So if this is something that interests you, if you want to learn how to use your aromatherapeutic blend and make professional quality, boutique, customized skincare for yourself, or if you have clients and you want to make products for them, I can teach you how to do that. So I hope to see you in class. And again, that website is www.createyourskincare.com/early-bird-2016.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank
She
you.
has an amazing program, that is for sure. And I did want to let you know, I know you guys enjoy webinars like this, and you get an insight on, what oils are good and how to create, certain products. But if you feel the need to take more control and you want to know how and why essential oils work, and how to choose chemistry to match certain therapeutic actions, you may want to consider taking a certification course, because that's pretty much the only place that you're going to do that. So I would encourage you to look over my website. I have an in-person class starting here in San Diego in September, and our next live streaming class starts in January of 2017, and I'm expecting that to fill up well before January. So you're more than welcome to put in a deposit to hold your spot, which does go towards your tuition. The students are really enjoying their curriculum. They're enjoying all of the interaction, all of the support, and all of the accountability. Those are things that you get that you can't get in just any online program. And of course, we have our amazing advisory board with 2 MDs and 1 Doctor of Oriental Medicine and 1 ND, which is a naturopathic doctor. And we have 1 more joining us shortly, and I'm really looking forward to announcing as well. So I would encourage you to look at the website, because the curriculum really has so much on it that we couldn't possibly cover it all. But it's a very well-balanced and comprehensive curriculum. And you learn to formulate a lot of different body products for personal use, or if you're interested in launching your own aromatherapy-based cosmetic line or product, that is something that we give you the support to do as well. So the last option that you have, if you are not ready to commit to a certification program but you would like to continue your learning, we have a private forum where you ask questions and they're answered live, and you have instructional videos and interaction learning from other people's questions as well. And that is on my courses page, and it's called Aroma Live. So we want to thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed the information and you're able to go home and put it to use right away. And if you have any questions, feel free to email Rachel or myself, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that. Thanks again for coming, and have a wonderful evening.